Welcome back, beautiful people, to another episode of Trey, the Terrible Collector. In today's episode, we are going to be branching out into one of the offshoots of the Toy Biz line. This particular line is the Alpha Flight line. So these are some really cool 2-packs. Each one of them contains 2 members of Alpha Flight. They have some information by the comic book writer and artist, the creator of Alpha Flight, John Byrne. They also include cards that you can't get anywhere else. They are specific to just these toys. So we're going to start these out today with Northstar and Aurora. Jean-Paul and Jean-Marie Boubier were not your average set of twins. During their adolescence, they each separately found that they possessed the mutant abilities to fly and travel at superhuman speeds. They have since discovered that whenever they join hands, they produce a radiant strobe effect, often blinding their adversaries into submission. Putting their respective lives as professional skier and history teacher behind, Northstar and Aurora joined Alpha Flight, Canada's very own superheroes. So I was personally introduced to these two in the early 2000s. Northstar had joined the X-Men team as a teacher, and he was the first openly gay mutant on the X-Men team. I was introduced to Aurora as a member of Weapon X, where she had gone in for help with some mental issues that she was dealing with, and they, of course, took advantage of her and experimented on her as Weapon X is wont to do. This box is unique in that it's not the same kind of setup the other ones have. This is very high quality cardboard and plastic. This is definitely meant to be a collector's item. This card has a very old school hologram. I don't know if you guys can see it. We'll zoom in and give you guys an update on it. But it's pretty cool. It's got like the lithograph kind of look to it. Let's pull this the rest of the way open. Big prominent maple leaf for the Canadians, the Canucks, if you will. These figures have pretty good articulation. It looks like they start at the shoulders and they have a pivot and they can also go back and forth. Neither one of them has elbow articulation, but both of their wrists move, and I believe that's meant to be so they can grip hands and do their light blasty blast. Pivots in the hip and ankle, but not the knee, which is a little weird. As far as the face sculpts go, Aurora looks great. Northstar looks like he might have been hit by a bus directly in the head. But what are you going to do? As far as the sculpts, she looks pretty similar to some of the other sculpts of female characters that we have, where the hips are popped out to the side and they can't do a straightforward like kick or anything. They're like their legs pivot on an axis, which is kind of weird. But because their powers are based in flight and light, I guess they don't really need to be doing like punching nonsense. They do look pretty cool next to each other. See if they can actually stand up. You can do it. I lied, they can't do it. Perfect. So those are our first Alpha Flight members. Pretty cool to be exploring some other characters in the X-Men universe. John Byrne is an amazing artist and writer who doesn't get enough credit when it comes to some of the things that he's created. So this is a really neat experience. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this weird episode of Trey the Terrible Collector, exploring some of the Canadian superheroes. As always, please remember to like and subscribe and tell your friends if you think that they would really like watching an old dude open old stuff. And you have been wonderful. I have been terrible, and we'll see you again soon.